Welcome back to Neo World Update. Tonight we're diving into tariffs, trade policy, and their real-world impact on iconic American companies. These policies were meant to protect American jobs, but what happens when they backfire? Retaliatory trade measures have made it tough for U.S. industrial giants to stay competitive, even at home. Rising material costs and new export taxes are forcing tough decisions. Let's break down 5 stories that reveal the true cost of protectionism. First up, Ford. Tariffs on imported steel and aluminum were supposed to boost U.S. producers. But for Ford, one of America's largest steel consumers, costs soared by about $1 billion. That's money lost for innovation, factory upgrades, and jobs. The impact was immediate. Ford canceled plans to sell the Focus Active, a new vehicle, in the U.S. after tariffs made it too expensive to import from China. The result? No new American jobs, just one less choice for consumers. Instead of building the car here, Ford simply scrapped it. The ripple effect continued. Higher costs and uncertainty led to major restructuring and job cuts. Tariffs meant to help one part of the industry ended up hurting another. Ford's story shows how a single policy can trigger unintended consequences across the economy. The interconnectedness of global supply chains means a win for one sector can be a loss for another. In the end, the policy designed to protect American manufacturing forced Ford to cut jobs and eliminate products. It's a powerful lesson in how complex and fragile the system really is. Ford's experience is just the beginning. When protectionist measures collide with global realities, the fallout can be swift and severe. The lesson? Economic ecosystems are more connected than ever. A single change can set off a chain reaction. Ford's billion-dollar loss is a warning for all. Let's see how other giants fared. Next, General Electric, GE. GE's global supply chain is a marvel, sourcing parts from dozens of countries for everything from jet engines to medical scanners. Tariffs on Chinese goods threw this system into chaos. Suddenly, essential components cost hundreds of millions more. GE faced a tough choice: raise prices and risk losing customers, or absorb the costs and cut profits. The company scrambled to find new suppliers outside China, a process that takes years and millions of dollars. The disruption didn't just raise costs, it forced GE to consider moving assembly overseas, closer to new suppliers. Instead of bringing jobs home, tariffs pushed production abroad. American workers paid the price as GE downsized and restructured. The power division, already struggling, faced even more pressure. Jobs disappeared as the economic logic that sustained them unraveled. GE's story is a stark reminder. In a global economy, trade barriers can cut American jobs instead of saving them. The supply chain web was rewoven, and some American threads were lost. Tariffs meant to protect ended up accelerating offshoring. For GE, the cost of protection was measured in lost jobs and lost ground. The lesson: global supply chains don't adapt overnight, they break. Now Caterpillar. Known for its heavy machinery, Caterpillar relies on steel. Lots of it. When steel tariffs hit, costs spiked by up to $200 million in a year. Domestic steel prices rose too, as U.S. mills faced less competition. Caterpillar tried to pass costs to customers, but global rivals like Komatsu and Volvo weren't hit by tariffs. Higher prices made Caterpillar less competitive abroad. To stay in the game, Caterpillar shifted more production overseas, using cheaper, non-tariffed steel. Every dollar invested in foreign factories was a dollar not spent in Illinois or Texas. The result? Fewer new jobs at home, and in some cases, layoffs as production moved abroad. The policy meant to protect American steel ended up pushing manufacturing jobs out of the country. Caterpillar's experience is a classic case of unintended consequences. Instead of boosting U.S. industry, tariffs incentivized offshoring. The global market punished any cost disadvantage. American workers felt the impact directly. The lesson: protectionist policies can backfire, hurting those they aim to help. For Caterpillar, the cost of protection was paid in American jobs. Whirlpool's story is the ultimate irony. The company lobbied for tariffs on imported washing machines and got them. At first it worked. Stocks soared, and 200 new jobs were announced in Ohio. But then, steel and aluminum tariffs hit, raising the cost of making those very machines. The advantage vanished as raw material costs soared. Retaliatory tariffs from other countries made exporting American-made appliances even harder. Whirlpool was squeezed, higher costs at home, higher barriers abroad. The company had to rethink its global strategy. Investing in overseas plants became more attractive than expanding in the U.S. The initial job gains were offset by rising costs and lost export sales. Investors soured as the full picture emerged. Whirlpool's win turned into a complex mess. The lesson: you can't protect one industry without risking harm to another. In a globalized world, every action has a reaction. Whirlpool's experience is a warning. Protection can quickly become a trap. The cost of victory was higher than anyone expected. Finally, Harley-Davidson. The brand is synonymous with "Made in the USA." But when the US imposed steel tariffs, the EU retaliated, targeting Harley with a massive tariff hike. Suddenly, every bike shipped to Europe cost $2,200 more. Europe is Harley's second biggest market. The company faced a brutal choice: absorb the cost, lose money, or pass it on and lose customers. Harley chose survival, shifting production for European bikes to overseas plants. The backlash was fierce. Critics called it un-American, but Harley argued it was the only way to stay in business. As trade wars spread, more countries imposed tariffs, pushing Harley to diversify production even further. The "Made in the USA" promise eroded, not by choice but by necessity. Trade policy forced an American icon to become less American. The lesson: global brands can't ignore global realities. When protectionism raises barriers, even the most American companies may be forced abroad. Harley's story is a powerful symbol of the unintended consequences of trade wars. Sometimes survival means letting go of tradition. Ford, GE, Caterpillar, Whirlpool, Harley-Davidson, 5 pillars, all forced to rethink "Made in America." Tariffs meant to protect ended up raising costs, cutting jobs, and pushing production overseas. The pattern is clear: higher costs for manufacturers, higher prices for consumers, and fewer jobs at home. The paradox? Building a wall around American industry sometimes drives companies outside it. Are tariffs a necessary evil or a self-inflicted wound? Supporters say it's short-term pain for long-term gain. Critics see only harm to workers and companies. The debate isn't over, and the stakes are high. What do you think? Are tariffs helping or hurting? Let's keep the conversation going.